first got assigned to a team of scientists who was working on developing new gun propellants. This is for big Navy guns that you might see on ships, like the 5-inch 54 or the 76 millimeter. And after that, I went into missile propulsion, working on, my kids would call rocket science. But this is when I learned another lesson. It turned out that the most important people on my team were the technicians. They might lack, a college degree, but their hands-on experience were invaluable. A green engineer like me really knew nothing about science and technology. No school taught me how to develop explosives or weapons. It was really the technicians on my team that taught me a lot. I developed such a respect for them that I spent a lot of time with them, and I learned all sorts of things, all sorts of tricks from them. And it turned out that it became a great factor for my success later. Because later when I became senior enough that I could develop my own idea, write my own proposal, and get approved for running my own research, I found I had no problem, absolutely no problem, of attracting any technician, anyone, any talent to join my team. At the Naval Surface Warfare Center, we had a matrix organization, and what that means is people are assembled for a particular project, and they work together in that project, and then when the project is done, then they disassemble, and then the people go to other projects. They reassign themselves or get reassigned to other projects. So there's always this competition among the project engineers or the program managers to attract the best talents to the team, because of course that's the key to your success. I found I had no problem of attracting talents because I never treated the technicians as just a pair of hands. I always took the time to explain the big picture to them and what the little part that they do can impact the big picture. So that's another thing that I would like to make the point to you, is that besides the hard skills that you're going to acquire, meaning your trade, be it engineering, math, pharmacy, dentistry, whatever that you train to do, take the time to acquire soft skills. And what I mean by soft skills are the interaction with other people skills, as they say, and later on, leadership skills. Those are that may make the difference between a successful and a mediocre manager or professional. As I move up in the organization, to my delight, I would say, I found out that I was given a lot of responsibilities very quickly and was given the job of managing large projects, large teams of scientists relatively early in my career. So that's the good news, right? The bad news is, of course, because of that, I ran into a lot of envy too. Because in a research organization, people are very sensitive about the size of a project, a research program, or who works for whom. And in my case, I'm the only one back then who didn't have a PhD degree. I was one of very few women, and I was actually the youngest, but I got to be the leader. And then later on, as I became Director for Science and Technology at the Naval Surface Warfare Center, again, I found myself being in a job that has never had a woman before. All my counterparts, meaning other directors of science and technology at other warfare centers, are all male, white, with PhD degrees, and a lot older than me, and a lot more experienced than me. So then one would ask, how did I manage to do that? Again, it goes back to people's skills. Yes, obviously I have to have the technical credentials in order to be a leader, in order to get respect. But aside from that, it's the leadership skills that stood me apart. And that's what I'd like to emphasize to you all. As you first start out in your profession as a junior engineer, an associate, whatever, usually your success depends almost solely on you. Because when you first start out, you have a small responsibility, a small task. So as long as you are talented, you have the right aptitude, you have the right work ethics, you're going to be successful. But as you move up and become team leader, program manager, supervisor, etc., I'm sure you will find that your success now depends on the success of many other people under you. Therefore, you need to know how to influence, how to lead other people, how to motivate other people. None of that are the hard skills that are taught in school. Certainly not American schools. But the good news is they could be learned. You could be trained. There's no such thing as, well, maybe some people do have a natural knack to be a leader. But a lot of that you could be learned. It's just a matter of knowing what one's weaknesses or what areas that we need to improve and go about acquiring skills or training or job assignment to help us compensate. Later on, as I became a science advisor to the Vice Admiral of the US Navy, this is a 3-star admiral and whose job is to be the Navy strategist. And at the same time, I was assigned to be science advisor to the director of the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, which is the equivalent of your AFP, Australian Federal Police, but just for the Navy. So here I go again, find myself in a place where I was the only woman on the executive staff, the only one who's never been in combat as far as the Navy is concerned, or one who's never been a detective, from the NCIS side, and I certainly was the only one who didn't even know how to shoot. Everybody else carry weapons, everybody else certainly know how to shoot, and a lot of them actually has a license to carry special weapons, okay? So, you think I had any problem of getting along? Definitely. I don't speak their language. That leads me to another point about soft skills. Those of you who read the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey might have come across this concept. Suppose you go to your eye doctor asking for a new prescription, for your eyes, and your doctor gives you his prescription, arguing that, well, since the prescription works for his eyes, it ought to work for you, for yours. You would walk away thinking, how absurd, right? Yet, there are many of us who continue to prescribe our glasses to others, to the rest of the world. Those of us who insist on prescribing our glasses to others will find it very hard to motivate and lead other people. The reason I was able to survive in the Pentagon and became successful was because I always constantly had to put myself in their shoes, so to speak, try to understand the way they think, the way they react to different things, the way they see the world, which is very different from the way scientists and engineers see the world. These are military men. These are former detectives, law enforcement people. They see the world very differently. That's a very important point that will serve you well as you move on in your career.